Hi design class. So I want to talk a little bit about how to start thinking about design. It's really more for like if you have an assignment or you're making something on your own, how to actually sit down and think and come up with an idea. Now, of course, a lot of these ideas can be translated into something if you want to make your own business. If you are working for the client. So just sort of pick and choose what's appropriate, and there are other steps that you want to do if you are working with somebody and trying to understand them as well. So this is really just if you're trying to understand yourself and creating something that you like and that you believe in, and maybe you want to make something out of it or maybe not. So the first thing that you really want to do is define your problem. The idea of problem is trying to come up with something that is meaningful, that is important, that you can possibly use or you can use to express yourself. There are 4 steps that I like to follow personally. The first one is brainstorming, that's a quite common sort of thing. Like whenever you're writing a paper or you're really doing anything, you gotta brainstorm first because you want to get all of the ideas from your head on a piece of paper. Okay, so later on I'm going to show you some steps on how to do a good brainstorm. After you do a brainstorm, you have a bunch of stuff written down and possibly ranked of importance. You want to do a mind map. So a mind map is a visual way of organizing all of those ideas from the brainstorm and also expanding on those ideas and trying to make connections between those ideas. Once you have all of that down, you sort of have an idea of what you're interested in, what you're looking for, and maybe you still have like 3 or 4 ideas that you're working with. Maybe they're related, maybe they're not related, but you know, those 3 or 4 ideas are something that you could really see working with and expanding on and possibly using in the final product. So once you have those 3 or 4 main ideas, what you're going to do is do some visual research. Okay, so you can look on the internet, look at design websites, look at art websites, you know, look at business websites if you need to, and going to your library and just sort of looking around all the visual stuff. You could even look around you and look at nature and things like that. So what you're doing is you're just taking in what you see that's out there already. So this is not necessarily like ideas coming from your head onto the piece of paper. It's really all about like what you see around you, what other people are doing, what whoever's doing, and then getting that information so you know what's already been done or what's going on that you can take inspiration from. Through that research and through that mind map, what you can do is really hone down to like, hey, you know, this particular idea, I don't really see so many people having a product based on that. I haven't seen, you know, this is very specific to me. This is what I really respond to. This comes up over and over in my research. I keep being attracted to this one thing, and that becomes your main idea. You can call it your thesis statement, you can call it a creative brief, but that's really how you can come up with a focus. And then you go on to the next steps of actually like sketching and designing and things like that. We're gonna take the example of a project. I want to design a t-shirt for myself, and the first thing I want to do is state the topic and talk a little bit about who the client is, and in this case it's myself. Set a time limit. I like to set time somewhere between 1 and 5 minutes. You don't want it to be too long. And the brainstorming part here is write down everything that comes in your mind. Even if you think that it's not a good idea, just put it down and you can get rid of it later. Here, I would like to rank and remove some ideas. So what I'm doing here is just crossing out ideas that I really don't want to work on or don't think they're good enough or exciting enough. And I'm putting a star by things that really jump out and excite me. After you're done with brainstorming, creating a mind map will expand upon those topics. If you have many topics, maybe 3 or 4 topics that you want to work with, I would recommend making a mind map for each topic so you would have several ideas that you can work with and expand upon. You want to then branch out with your ideas. So you can use short words or icons and just keep going and subdividing and then organizing. I like to use different colors. You can use different sort of pens. You can use different sort of line types and line weights to organize everything so you can clearly see what ideas belong in which group. The last thing you want to do with a mind map is start to look for connections. So you may have written down a bunch of words here, but the next thing to do is figure out what kind of goes together. So here I am looking at things like prehistoric, sustainable, earth, homes, village, nature, and combining them together. And another connection I saw was colonial, urban, city scene, seaside, around water, business, downtown area. After you've completed your mind map, you should have sort of narrowed down what you're interested in. Mine was nature and also the downtown areas. So here what I'm doing is I am on the computer in the library. I'm taking my own images and I'm collecting images, organizing those images, and even going on a journey and reading and research. So that means like if I'm doing some research, maybe it takes me in a different place, maybe I see something that I find really interesting and just sort of follow along those instincts to see what you're interested in and maybe find something that you haven't actually thought of, and only research can help you do that. I also like to take my own images, so I would drive around, walk around, and find things that interest me that fit my main ideas or the group of ideas that I'm interested in. Here I am organizing some pictures that I took around downtown Houston. Once I have all of my images, I'm going to go back and take a look at them and start to visualize certain patterns that I see. Here I am making a list of all the patterns, visual patterns, as well as conceptual patterns that I see in the images that I've taken. So that's a way of analyzing everything. I also like to do a little write-up, so I'll just kind of look at the list that I made, highlight things that really jump out to me, and then do a little write-up so that I can think a little bit more about it. Now, once I've done some writing, I've thought about it for a while, maybe take a break, walk around, get your head clear so that you guys can come up with a main idea. Here, I've come up with an idea, a thesis where I was really interested in all the glass bottle windows that I saw and also the storefront glass windows that I saw. So it's a great balance between natural and commercial. I think that's very interesting. And I think it'll be a great idea for a t-shirt design. So there you have it, how to get ideas. You want to brainstorm, then create a mind map, do some visual research, and then finally define your main idea.